I'm going to make two concrete candles, one using Cementol, the other using Hydrostone. And I'm not going to edit this video very much because I'm going to show you the step-by-step process from beginning to end. Let's go. Hi, my name is Jay Catalano. I have my Cementol here and my Hydrostone there. I have to talk about one important topic before we get started, and that topic is safety. Now, what is in Cementol? It's CSA cement and silica sand. Now, does that sound like something that your lungs want to ingest? I don't think so. When it comes to Hydrostone, we have calcium sulfate hemihydrate. You say that 10 times and see if you could do that. Calcium sulfate hemihydrate, calcium sulfate hemihydrate. I'm already tired. Is that something that your lungs want to inhale? No, it isn't. And so, with that said, safety is the utmost importance. That's almost cliche, but it's the truth. And if you've ever watched any of my videos, you know that I have a philosophy, and that philosophy is the best time to take care of your health is when you still have it. So, there are 3 types of safety devices that I recommend. The first is the very low on the totem pole N95 mask. At the very least, you should be wearing this. When it comes to a next tier, I don't have it with me, but I'm going to pop it up right here, and that is the semi-respirator. The reason I don't have it is because it broke. I used it so much. But in it breaking, I realized that I actually liked my full respirator more than anything else. So I started using it after that broke. And I was like, wait a minute, why don't I use this all the time? And one of the things that I like about this, now I'm not saying you have to go out and get it, but it is something to think about if you're into safety like I am. It suction cups your face, and the breathing's excellent, so that none of the plumes of smoke come into it. And so I really like that. Plus, it has the glass or the plastic on the front to cover the eyes. This is my go-to respirator right now. So, you do what you want for you. I'm going to link all 3 of those devices down below. Hopefully, at the very least, you use the N95 mask. Now, for today, I'm not going to use my big bad boy respirator because I'm on video and I'd start to sound like I was some kind of alien or something like that, and I don't want to do that. So I'll use my N95 mask. Now, I've already weighed stuff out. Let me get my scale just in case, but I already weighed stuff out so I didn't waste anybody's time. But we're going to start with Cementol. And so the question is, what am I making? And so I'm going to make these concrete candles, and I'm thinking of doing a double dipped RIT dye with a silver foil around the center ring. Now, you might have seen that before. I'll pop one up over here so you can see what it looks like. And I'm going to do it in both Cementol and Hydrostone. You can use any colors you want. I'm going to use red and blue. And really, the sky's the limit. It doesn't matter what you use. I mean, it all kind of works out to be the same. You find the color pattern that works for you. I'm going to use red and blue because I like that combination. Now, I'm going to put on my mask. And we're going to start with Cementol. Now, one other thing I want to mention is today is October 8th, 2024. So that means, you know what today is. Let's see where we end up when we're done with the complete candle, wax, wick, and fragrance oil, everything. All right. Like I said, I already weighed everything out. I am going to put my, and let me just tell you what these ingredients are, or I should say the amounts of the ingredients. There's 92 grams of water in here, more or less, and there's 365 grams of Cementol in here. Now, when I put this in, you're going to see smoke come up, and that's what you want to avoid. So I'm going to do my best to see if I can avoid as much as possible. It's going to happen, but I'm going to see if I can avoid it as much as possible. Ah, there's the little smoke right there. There we go. You see that? This is what we want to avoid right here. This is what we want to avoid. Now, that's not good. No bueno. All right. Now, one of the questions I get all the time, you see that smoke? That's why I wear my respirator. If you see me fanning this out as I'm doing this videos, because I don't like this. One of the questions I get all the time is, how do you avoid bubbles? How do you avoid bubbles? Okay, there are many techniques to avoiding bubbles, but I'm going to give you a simple one-word answer to avoid bubbles. One word? No, I'm going to give you a one-sentence answer to avoid as many bubbles as possible, and that is stir gently. That's two answers. I should say that's two words. Stir gently, right? You don't need to stir like you are in a rodeo. You don't need to do that. As you do that, you create more bubbles. So you stir gently. And look, I don't know if you can see, but there's no, it's smooth. It's ready. Look, I didn't even, what did I do? 30 seconds? That's it. That's all I did. I'm going to pour it in here. Now, another way to get rid of the bubbles is just massage your silicone mold on the bottom a little bit, just to kind of pop out any of those little bubbles that like to get caught in the bottom. That's it. Takes a second, and then you go back to pouring your Cement-All mixture till you're happy. And that's that. Now, do I need to pop any? I see a couple of bubbles here. There are a couple ways to pop them. I'm not going to really go through that because I put a sticker on the bottom. I don't care that the bottom doesn't look 100% perfect. But if you want to get out the bubbles, you could either pop them like I'm popping right now, right? Or put something on the bottom like I do. Or you can tap, 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 drop, 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 vibrate, vibrate, vibrate. I don't know if you can see it from this angle, but there's my vibrating machine. We don't need to do any of that, in my opinion. I think it's fine. Another way you can also pop the bubbles is a light heat gun right over on the top. Zzz, zzz, bubbles go away. Little hack will help you out. Now, when we do the lid, the same thing applies. You do not want to just fill it. You can see, I won't be able to show you because I'm not editing this video. I'll put this back on in a minute. I'm not editing this video much, so I'm not going to necessarily show you, but I can see through the lights and the clarity, the transparency of the silicone mold that there is Cement-All mixture that has gone around the ring on the inside, which is part of the lid. You want to make sure that you don't just add Cement-All, because when you add Cement-All inside, the bubbles get trapped. You want to move that around a little bit to kind of keep the bubbles from being trapped, right? So there's two bubbles. There's the bubbles that form from the Cement-All and the silicone mold, and then there's the bubbles that form from the actual mixture, which, by the way, I don't see any bubbles over here. This is smooth, and you saw what I did. Nothing fancy. I don't use anything. People distill water, heat your water, make it cold, make it hot. You know, if you can get it from the Alps, it's even better. If you know how to make hydrogen and oxygen together, that would probably be your best bet. And they start crying. No, that's bullshit. I'm going to be honest with you. Just, we're artists, and I always say that the perfection lies in the imperfection. So get used to embracing the imperfection. And notice I don't have a lot of mixture left. That's designed that way. I'm going to throw in the description a link to my video so that you can determine any silicone mold. I have a formula, and that formula is awesome. It will save you product, right? That was just a little finger cleanup I just did. Did you see that? I wiped it. Finger cleanup. All right. That is my Cement-All. Now, normally I go and I clean my bowl before it hardens in here, but I don't have time to do that. Here's a hack. If you want to avoid your bowl, like say you have to do something, you got to go out, the kids are like, Mommy, Daddy, right? You just add a little water and that's it. It's not going to harden. Well, it will, but it slows it down, right? Mix it around, and now when I go to clean this, it's easy peasy. All right, now for my Hydrostone, which I actually love Hydrostone more. I do. You have to be responsible when you use Hydrostone because Hydrostone is not as strong as Cementol under a candle circumstance. I have 115 grams of water and I have 345 grams of Hydrostone. Now, I sometimes will sift it in, but so I don't drone on and on, I'm going right away to stir it, get on with the program, so to speak, so you can see the end result. But the reality is, you have time with the Hydrostone. It's one of the things I love about Hydrostone. You have time. I like the flexibility because of the color, or the lack of color, because it's white, right? So it doesn't really have color. It is an awesome product. Not easy to get. I have a video. We'll show you how to get Hydrostone a little bit easier. It is in my video of Hydrostone versus Cementol. I'll leave a link in the description. You can go check that out. And I think I'm good. Like, you see, I don't really mix a lot. I don't really mix a lot. I just mix it until it's mixed. Duh. All right. Let's add in. Now, this is a little thicker. So, see, it's like an ice cream. So I can kind of play with it. I could thin it out and add a hair more water. I don't like to do that. I like to keep it strong. But it is a possibility if you feel like, oh, it's so thick. It's like thick ice cream. Yeah, it sometimes can be. Like I said, you could thin it out by adding a little water to your mixture. But when you do that, people tend to not understand what I mean when I say that, and they get irresponsible and just add too much water, and then they go, Jay, why did it break? Well, there you have it, right? So I suggest if you're really interested in using Hydrostone, follow the rules, learn the product. Once you learn how to use it, it's easy. And then you get to have so much fun. And you know what? I have a client, a student who we do one-on-one sessions together, and she shipped it out to her. I'm looking for a spoon because I added, did I add too much? Maybe a 5 grams too much. Maybe not even. Anyway, she was like, I'm going to have Hydrostone shipped to me, and then I'll figure out cost later. That mentality I like. People are so worried about cost, I actually need some of that Hydrostone back. Some people are so worried about cost. I get it. I'm not saying you shouldn't worry about cost. But if you're trying to make a product, make the product and then worry about cost. Like, how do you even know you can make the product? You know, you got to make it first. Don't think about anything else beyond that. Get the Hydrostone. Spend the $40 to have it shipped. I know what you're thinking, Jay, I just don't have the money. You know, it's easy for you to say. Well, listen, you want to prove to yourself it's better for you to get Hydrostone $40 more expensive to find out, you know what, I don't like it, than it is for you to do something like a big project, right? I think it would be. Anyway, you got to do the same thing. You got to move this around. Hydrostone is just as sneaky. I even lift up the lip a little bit to make sure that it gets in there. Now, because it's white and this is clear, I can't quite see inside. I can see a little bit. And it looks like it's all filled in properly. I won't know until I get my lid out of the demolding process, but it is what it is. I don't overly worry about it. A lot of people will say things like, well, what do I do in this circumstance? Like, I don't like the bubbles, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. Again, the perfection is in the imperfection. You're an artist. If it were a machine made, then you want it to be perfect. If it's machine made, I want it to be perfect. You want it to be perfect. But if it's handmade, the imperfection is your perfection. All right, I've got my Hydrostone. Move that back over here. Hopefully I can move. Wow, that's already set. That's not even moving. That's crazy. Don't you just love that? Anyway, I got my Hydrostone and my Silicone. Now, it takes about 30 minutes, 45 minutes for this to solidly set up, and then I can demold it. I'm not going to come back and demold this, then demold that. I will wait for this to be ready and demold them together. So I'm going to wait about 2.5 to 3 hours. I'll be back then. All right, 3 hours has passed, and now I'm ready to demold my Silicone and Hydrostone candle jars. I'm going to start with this because it's been hanging out here for about 2.5 hours waiting for me to demold it. And let's see how we did. I only see one hole, and actually a nice big chunk hole right here. It happens. It's a bubble. What am I going to do? But that's life. I wasn't able to see, and I mentioned that I wasn't able to see it before, but that's life. Remember, perfection is in the imperfection. So people are forgiving when you sell these items. Let's see how this did, because this I don't necessarily need to see. I can squeeze it as the mixture goes inside, and it usually takes care of it. We'll see. There might be some bubbles. I really don't care. Well, I care, but I don't care. You know what I mean? All right. Nope. Let me see. One. And a very small one here, too. So, very, very small. Nothing major. No big deal. And trust me, when it's done, you're not going to even see those things because you're going to be looking at the beauty of the candle jar. And when you look at anything right now, you start to notice, oh, well, it looks raw, it looks wet. It doesn't look pretty. But we're not done. We're not done. Let me put this to the side. Let's see how I did with the Silicone. All right. No, I have a very small, tiny hole right here, unnoticeable, especially when it's closed. So this was a success, right? I was able to see it, so it's a little bit easier to do when you can see something. And trust me, when I'm working with Hydrostone on my own, I'm able to see it because I have a system set up to see it. Not necessarily when I'm doing a video. These bright lights, they're bright. And that thing. Luckily, it doesn't get hot in here. I'm always cold, so it's no big deal. If it were getting hot, I'd be sweating. Anyway, let's see how the rest of this vessel looks. And it's still wet. Some people will email, say, oh, I demolded and there's spots. No, there's no spots. It's wet. Unless you have spots, which is a possibility. No. One very tiny little hole, bubble hole right up here. Very small. Again, you're not going to notice it because perfection is in the imperfection. You should know that line. Come up with your own version of it. Trust me, it's the truth. People are very forgiving when it's handmade. Let's weigh them out because before we seal it, we have to make sure it maintains its weight. So we will start with the Hydrostone. And Hydrostone weighs 365-ish, 366 grams, I will say. So 366 grams. And the Silicone weighs 409 grams. 409 grams. All right, we're going to watch those numbers go down. And tomorrow, we're going to start dyeing and dipping. I don't know, dipping and dyeing. We're not going to dye, but you understand what I'm saying. See you tomorrow. Okay, we're back. It's the following day. I'm going to consider today day 1, yesterday being day 0, and it is currently October 9th, so that's one following day. I am going to weigh out my vessels first because I want to see how much weight they've lost. And I'm going to start with the Simmental vessel. And remember, yesterday we had 900, no, not 900. We had 409 grams. And it is currently 397 grams, which means there is a 12-gram difference. Not bad. Okay, the majority of the weight's going to be lost on day 1, right? 24 hours later. Let's see what we have here. Wow, 351. Yesterday we had 366 grams. So that's a 14-gram differential. Not bad. I'm sorry, 15 grams. I said 351. And it's good to mark these down so you can see approximately when the weight stabilizes. Then you start to think about sealing, right? And once you do this a few times, you don't have to think about it. You just know, oh, today's day 3, I'm going to seal. Does that make sense? So people ask me that question all the time. Now, another reason why I'm weighing them is because the weight's going to go up. I'm actually going to remove this sheet right here because the weight's going to go up because we're going to RIT dye dip them today. And you might wonder, why am I doing it today? Well, I'm doing it today because I don't want to wait for it to lose all of its water weight and then dip dye them and then wait to let it lose all of its water weight again. So being that the majority of the water leaves today, I'm going to then dip dye them and then we'll wait for them to cure. Does that make sense? Now, I am going to do a 1-for-1 ratio. So just so you know, here are my RIT dyes. I have my blue. I have these two because this is almost complete. And even though these are slightly different colors, when I mix them together, it'll be fine. And this is my burgundy red that I'm going to go with. They're going to be deep. They're going to be dark, right? And when I seal them, they're going to kind of balance out a bit. You'll see what I mean at the end. So these are my RIT dyes. I am doing a 1-for-1 ratio. So I'm going to add in water, and it's heated water, right? Well, it was boiling at one point. I'm going to get the temperature to about 125 when it's mixed, all said and done, right? So let's weigh that out and see where we are. I'm going to do about 110 grams. That's my goal here. So you can see it's pretty hot. I'm standing up because I can't see the numbers with all these lights here. That's 90. I'm going to go, let's go to, there you go, 110. That's 110. And I'm going to do 110 in this because I'm going to do, so my original thinking was I would do blue on top and then red on the bottom. But I think I'm going to do blue on one of them on top and then red on one of them on top to kind of change it up. That's the beauty of our artistry. We have the control to do what we want. Remember, perfection is in the imperfection. And even though this won't be imperfect, I can do what I want. And if I don't like it, here's the thing. If I don't like it, that doesn't mean someone else doesn't like it. Remember, we have our business, hopefully our business with our artistry and the public's desire, hopefully that overlaps. But every so often it doesn't. Our ideas don't match with what the public wants, and so we have to somehow fit them together. And sometimes we make things and we go, you know what, I don't even like that. So I got to get my thermometer. Let's see where I am temperature-wise right now. I have, yeah, it's going up fast. So we're now at like 150, 152. So it's up there. I'm hoping to get it to about 125. And if I have 100 grams or 110 grams here, that'll be enough. I won't add in any more of the other one. So let's see. I have, that is about 67 grams. So I'm done with that. I'm going to add in a little bit of this to get it to 110. So I'll be 1-for-1. All right, that's 90. And there we go, 110. Perfect, not bad, right? Okay, so I'll move that to the side. I'm gonna stir that up in a second. I'm gonna add in my red. This is new, so this bottle might not have been opened. Right, so I gotta take the little protective seal off. And let's do 110. So it's almost the same color probably on video, right? Because this is a red, but it's a deep red. It's like a wine color. So it might look, from your point of view, it might look like it's the same. It's not. Trust me, it's not. And there you go. All right, good. So I have my Rid dye in here, and I need, you would think I would have been prepared, but I'm not. I am going to get my little stir stick, make sure that this is stirred up nicely, and then I am going to stir the other one, and I'm gonna, one side's gonna be blue, I'm sorry, the top's gonna be blue on one of them. I don't know. Let's do, here's what we do. Not 100% sure, but I'm just gonna kind of wing it and hope to God it works out. And if it doesn't, here's the beauty of it. I think it's gonna be awesome no matter what. So I'm gonna actually add my lid in. I should have measured the temperature, but that's concrete, so it's not going to affect it. I will with the Hydrostone. There you go. Perfect. Now, with the Hydrostone, I do want to know what the temperature is because you don't want it to crack if it's too high. Oh yeah, I'm good. Right, because if it's 150 degrees, it could crack. Now, I'm not going to do the top right now. I'm going to go backwards, upside down, right? That's the top. This is the bottom. And now I'm going to get my timer, and let's do, let me see. I don't know. Let's do 5 minutes. And when we're going to do 5 minutes, it's 9:35 in the morning, by the way. We're going to do 5 minutes. I'm going to put my timer on so I know when 5 minutes is, because I want to talk to you about some frequently asked questions that I get. I'm going to do that every day. And in the later days as we go on, I'm going to talk about sales and how to make money and branding. Certain things that I think are very important and topics that people are afraid of. But today, one of the things that I get questions on all the time is, Jay, thank you for all that you do. How can I repay you? How can I thank you? How can I support you? Now, I don't get that question all the time, but I do get that question from time to time, and I'd like to answer that because I think it's important. Now, one of the things that helps support the channel, let me say it this way. There are many levels to supporting my channel, my work, the things that I do. The easiest, the most easiest, whether you know it or not, is you watching this video right now helps support my channel. And the more you watch, the more it supports me and my channel. That's a level of support. Now, obviously, I'd love for you to watch as many videos as possible, but even if you only watch one, that's a level of support. So I thank you for that. Now, if you want to bump that level of support up, you could either like, comment, and or subscribe, or all three. You could like, comment, and subscribe. By doing that, it allows the algorithm to find these videos more easily because more people like them or support them or subscribe to the channel. Does that make sense? It's like the more popular it is, the more they're going to send it out. So obviously it's a level of support. Now, if you say, well, Jay, I want to go a step above that, and people do, I just want to make that clear. People do, and I appreciate that. They can do what's called a super thanks. Now, if you look down below by the description, by the subscribe button, by the like button, I don't know exactly where, but it'll say super thanks. Now, a super thanks is in essence a tip, right? So you can give any amount. It could be $1, it could be $5, it could be 10, it could be 100. Now, I've gotten nice tips before, and I've gotten very small tips. Either of them, really, honestly, is so appreciated. When I see a tip for $1 or $2 or $5, I'm like, that's awesome. Someone took the time to push the button and thank me with a super thanks. and I appreciate it. Now, there are other levels of support that can help the channel. I have a Etsy shop, and I sell labels, I sell candle labels, warning labels, thank you cards, candle care cards, yada, yada, yada. And that shop is growing, and so if you purchase something for there, that helps support the channel and the cause and helps me to buy more materials and do more videos and stuff like that. If you want to go a step beyond that, which of course is always appreciated, you can purchase my course. Now my course, which is doing quite well, is a course I'd like to think it's obviously for anyone, but one of the things the course is great for are for people in 3 different categories. And I'm going to get my paper towels ready in case this alarm goes off. One of the categories is for people who like a little hand holding. Jay, I need someone to hold my hand. Every so often we need someone to hold our hand, right? Anything we do in life is not easy. I should say a lot of things we do in life is not easy, and sometimes we need a little hand holding. And so that course is perfect for those who need a little hand holding. Another category of people who this course is good for, and please, I hope I don't have any Rit dye on my head if I'm scratching myself, because you know it gets on you no matter what, is for those who want a step-by-step process to go from A to Z without thinking. You're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do that, and you're going to be successful in making these products, right? That's who the course is good for. People who love processes, who love systems, who love not thinking. That is perfect for them. And the final category of people who I think it's good for, we got a little less than a minute, is for those who want access to me. And what I mean by access to me is I have a private community. People ask questions in that private community, and I answer them thoroughly, trying to get them to the next stage of their process. Now, sometimes, a lot of times, they bypass the group and they go right to me and they email me or contact me via Facebook Messenger. Now, if you're a part of the group, obviously I'm going to answer you in full. I do answer some people on my YouTube channel and other Facebook groups, but it's very tough to do it now because of the popularity of the channel and questions that get asked. So I don't do it as much as I probably should, or I could, but I do it. Unfortunately, I can't do it as much. Now, let's take a second, because I have one more thing to say, and here is my red, all right? And it's a little blotchy, but let's see how it turns out, right? Because when it's all said and done, it's not going to be blotchy, because it's going to look different when we spread out. This one's not. And I always find Rit dye to work better with Cementol. That's just my personal experience. You notice how there's really no spots. I don't know if you could tell, but there's really no spots. I have to get the lid out, so I'm going to have to put my glove back on. And let's do that now. What was I saying? Oh, shoot. That's what happens when you have cheap gloves. Let me see if I can get this out without having to get something else. There we go. Let me get another paper. I'm going to use that paper right there. It's not always easy to do 2 things at once. And try being blonde. It's even harder. I make fun of blondes all the time. I'm blonde, natural, by the way. And I tell you, it cracks people up left and right. I was in the DMV. You ever go to the DMV? It is, well, back in the day, it was the worst place to go to. People were grumpy. And the lady said something to me, and she looked like she was mean. She was like, you go down there and you do this, you make a left, and you go down there and you follow the line. And I was like, what? And she goes, with a mean face, you know, yeah, she's talking. I said, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I'm blonde. Could you say that again? She starts laughing. I couldn't stop the lady from laughing. I could not stop her from laughing. All right, let's make sure we get this right. So I've used that joke ever since. It helps lighten the mood. Anyway, we're going to put in, let's get another glove so I don't contaminate Ugh, gloves are so cheap. This is going to be blue, right? This is my Hydrostone. I'm going to put in my blue. Uh-oh, I just dribbled a little Hydrostone in there. That's fine. All right, and there's going to be a bit of a line. You're going to see a white line. We're going to cover that white line, and it's not falling right on top of. Can't find the lid. The lid's. Uh-oh, I just dropped it in again. That might be it right there. It's okay, because any mismarkings that we find, where's my, oh, my lid's good, so I don't need that again. Any mismarkings, any abnormalities, anything that doesn't look good right now is going to change, right? Because we are artists. I want you to remember that. I think this is important. We are artists. I'm going to set another 5-minute timer. And that's important. I don't want you to look at something, oh my God, the bubbles, or oh my God, it's splotchy. No, it's not. That's artistry. It's one of a kind. Do you know that there will never be another one of these or these ever again? There might be similarities. It's not hard to do, but they're never going to be exactly the way I make them. That's the beauty of it. So, oh my gosh, my daughter. Dad, can you please bring me lunch? Man, if you have kids, think about, she's just texting. She's in school, by the way, texting me in school, which means she shouldn't be doing that. But she's on the sports team, and of course, she's, Dad, can you please bring me lunch with cucumbers and a green apple, not cut grapes, no popcorn, and $5. $5? $5? Why she want $5? With ice packs to keep cold, and the new lunchbox. Not the Adidas ones, thanks. And the pink water bottle with ice and water in it. Thanks, love you. Ha! Oh, man. Daughters, kids, daughters. She's got my heart. I love that kid. I love her so much. Anyway, I'm always like, you gotta make me do all this stuff for. I do it anyway. All right, so I don't know. I said something. I hope it makes sense. We're artists. I want you to know that. A lot of people are so insecure. If you ever read any of my community posts, I ask a lot of questions. Read those. Read those when you get a chance. If you just sit there and read the questions that I ask people and the answers that they give, it just gives you a clue into what people are thinking. And we all go through the same thing to some degree. So it's kind of important to know that, to see that. Anyway, with that said, we have about 3 minutes left. Let me finish one other thing. I mentioned my course. Hopefully, if that's something that you want to purchase because you're new to the game, you don't want to have to think, or you want support, or you need a hand-holding technique, I'm your guy. Trust me. I've done it a million times. Now, the last thing, and I haven't begun it yet. That didn't sound right. That's not educated. The last thing, it hasn't started, I haven't started, is I am beginning a Patreon page in January. I haven't begun, as I said, but I am beginning to promote it we're in October. I'll probably begin mid-November and then start in January, fresh, clean slate. Make sure I have all my ducks in a row and my time is scheduled properly so I can really add value to the community. But that would be a way to support me and the channel. So if that's something you're interested in, please check the link down below. Hopefully if it's past January, or I should say it's now 2025, the link and the information should be there. All right. So that in essence is one of the ways that you can help support, all of those ways to support me and the channel and what it is that I do. Now, I want to make this absolutely clear. Any level of support, whether it's just watching my video to doing all of the above that I listed, I'm appreciative of the effort. I really am. Now, that doesn't mean that if an alien comes down and attacks us and it's you and someone who bought the course, I'm probably saving the one who bought the course first. I just want to make that clear. I'll get to you because I love you, but I'm going to save the person who bought the course and is part of my Patreon community. Cheap ass. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love you guys. I really do. I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of love on this channel. And I have to tell you, it's quite special. It's quite special. You don't realize it because you only get to see what you see in this moment. You don't get to read the emails or read the comments, how I've changed people's lives, or I've helped save somebody from something, or turn them around, or started their career in the arts of doing these jars. It's cool. It's cool. It really is. So if you do want to comment and let me know how I've helped you out, man, that I appreciate it. And I answer 90% of the people. I really do. There'll be times that I can't, or I forget, or I don't even see it. Sometimes a month, 2 months go by and I go, oh shoot, I didn't even know somebody wrote to me. And there it is. All right. I am going to pull out. Not bad. That one's not blotchy at all. That's not blotchy at all. Now, again, the ring, we're going to put the foil around there, right? This one's a little bit, this one's a little different. You know what I'm going to do with this one? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I don't mind it, but I want to tell you, I threw away my glove. I'm going to use my glove again. You can't see it because of the angle of the camera. I'm really not editing much because it's a pain in the ass. That's not the reason I'm not editing. I'm not editing. You know what I did? I screwed up. Damn it. They're both blue on top. Ah, damn it. You see, it's tough being blonde. Well, when I say I screwed up my what I said I was going to do, and I did the opposite, right? And to be fair, it was originally what I was going to do. I was going to originally do blue on top and red on the bottom, and I thought I was being slick by knowing I was going to switch it. But a blonde can't do two things at once, so both sides, if you notice, are blue. And this is a little blotchy. I'm going to add this back in for a minute. And the reason I'm doing that is because there's a line from here. I dipped it too far, moving it around, it kind of caused a little bit of a line. Not the end of the world. What I can do, if you ever want to, you see something, you don't love it, especially if it's new, like you just got it out of your silicone mold, lightly sand it down, right? If you see a spot, lightly sand it down, like a 220 grit, 320 grit sandpaper, just lightly, and it usually comes out, and there you go, you have no mark. But if you don't mind, like if you say, you know what, that's the way it looks, that's the way it looks, that's fine. You can do anything with it. You could paint it, you can throw on some foil, you can leave it as is. When you seal it, it changes. Sometimes these marks go away on their own, so they're not as big of a deal as you would think. And for the most part, the line is better. It's gone and it's not. So that's fine. I'm going to leave it as is to show you the imperfection. I want to keep it that way. That's what I said, that the perfection is in the imperfection. And so I am going to weigh them, and we now have to let them dry and cure. And if you want, obviously, if you have multiple to do, and I'll talk about this in a second. If you have multiple to do, you would do them. Obviously, as you dip, it's going to absorb the liquid, which then means that the level is going to go down. So you might have to adjust. These RIT dye dipping techniques should be luxury items, should be your premium items, should be a step above what you sell. This should not be your everyday item where you kind of add in some pigment and you stir it together, now you have a red vessel, or you stir it in, you have a black vessel. These should be sold at a premium. Does that make sense? Because it's costing more to do this, right? This is, I don't know, each one, this is like $4 each, so it's $8. And you could probably get, I don't know, I would say I can get 10 out of it, maybe 8 to 10, right? Until the level goes too low, if I were to do this technique. So treat it as that. Treat it as a premium item, okay? Don't just, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell things at the same price. And by the way, let me make sure I get the right, that's the benefit of having a little bit of a bubble hole. I can tell which vessel or top is for which vessel. So I already know. There you go. And you could tell, you can't tell on camera, but this is slightly more of almost a royal navy blue, right? It's dark, but it's spotty. And for some reason, Hydrostone is spotty when it comes to this technique. But on this vessel, it's not. And so you will see that this is very deep blue, and this is more of a wine color. You might notice that the top looks black from your angle. I don't know. If it does, it's just because it's very deep and very, very navy blue, right? It's almost perfect for the color that came on the bottle, right? If you look at that, boom. Whereas this is not. Maybe to some degree, depending on the spots. But that's good. I like it like that. And again, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I'll see how I feel it out when I look at it. I might lightly sand it to kind of give it a different look, just to see what it looks like, not necessarily to do it because, just kind of test it out. Because sometimes you do things and you go, oh, it's a wonderful error, you know, a serendipitous error. So let's weigh these out. Remember, they're going to be heavy. This is with the RIT die. They're going to be heavy. Simmental, and this is, what did I say? Today's the 9th? That's right. Wow. Can you believe it's the 9th? Can you believe it's the 9th? Here's the kicker. You're watching this is way past the 9th. That's the kicker. You could be watching this 6 months down the line, a year down the line, 5 years down the line. Who knows how long it is? And boy, that's how life works, right? Anyway, enjoy it while you can, right? Here's the Simmental vessel. Now, we had it at 397 grams, and yesterday it was 409. So do you think it's more than the 409? It might be, because it's still wet. I mean, like, it actually feels heavy. So let's see. We are at 414, and we're back up, 414. Another reason why you want to let it dry, and you could wait 2 days, is because by letting it dry, it absorbs more water so that when you add more water back in, it has somewhere to go. Does that make sense? Right? So if you want it to absorb the water, you don't want to have water. It's like a sponge. If you want to have water in the sponge and there's already water in the sponge, adding more water, yeah, it adds to it, but it didn't add the clean water to it. So you want to let the water dissipate and then add back in the red dye. So there's my Simmental. And now Hydrostone, let's see what this works out to be. So yesterday it was 366 and today 351, and it is currently a little bit under yesterday at 363. 363. And that might be because it's a little bit lighter in spots, which I'll be honest with you, I like it. Once it's sealed, you're going to say to yourself, man, that looks awesome. It's going to look awesome when it's done. I was just taking care of a drop that was on top of that. Anyway, I didn't 100% wear gloves. My hands are not as clean as I'd like them to be, but it is what it is. I had fun doing this video. Thanks for watching. It's not done yet, but I'll be back tomorrow. See you then. Okay, hi. It is October 10th, 2024. It's day 2. It's the third time you're seeing me, but it's day 2. I'm going to weigh these vessels to see how much weight they've lost, and we're going to kind of determine when to seal it once we realize that the weight has stabilized. It hasn't stabilized because it's really the first full day, right? Because yesterday we did RIT dye, and so it could take an extra day because we added some water back in, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes in the next couple of days, and I'll let you know how that is. Now, I just want to let you know, in my opinion, it might, well, maybe in your point of view, if you look at these vessels, they don't look so pretty right now. They really don't. But they're going to look nice when we're done. And so I want you to kind of keep an open mind for yourself when you're creating, because a lot of times we criticize ourselves and we think things are ugly and we haven't really seen the beauty in them, right? That happens a lot in this world. So take it for what it is. It's going to look different when it's over. Trust me. Trust yourself, I should say. I already trust my own process. Now, before we weigh that out, I want to talk about a topic that is very, very important, and that is sales. Sales, making money, selling, right? I asked a question on my community post on YouTube, and I asked what were the biggest struggles you were having, and sales was the overwhelmingly first problem. That was number one. So let's talk about sales real briefly for a second, and I'm not going to go too deep into this because trust me, I can. But if you join my Patreon in January, I go deep. I think I'm gonna set up a segment for a select few people. I can't help everyone. It's not about making money for me. It's about helping a select few people. Only those who really want to be helped. Not everyone wants to be helped. Trust me, I see that all the time. Now, in regards to sales, one of the things that we as artists have a problem with is actually feeling like we're selling something because we make ourselves feel like we are a dirty car salesperson, right? It kind of feels icky. You have to almost push someone to do something they might not want to do. And that feels wrong, and it feels icky, and it's not cool. So I could see in that context, being a salesperson is not something anyone wants to do. And to be honest with you, for years, I sucked at sales. Sucked at it. Sucked. I hated it. I hated it with a passion. I made a mind shift, and it changed everything. And I'm going to help you with that right now. You are not a salesperson, a salesman, or a saleswoman. You are a problem solver. That's right. You're a problem solver. You're not a salesperson. You're a problem solver. If you look at yourself as a problem solver, you will be so much better off. It's not icky. Everyone likes to help people solve their problems if they feel they can help them, right? Excuse me, can you tell me what time it is? Well, absolutely. It's 9:30. I help solve that problem. Oh, pardon me, can you tell me where Main Street is? Absolutely. It's straight down, you make a left, and then you go right across the street, and you're there. I help solve a problem. We do that all the time. Oh, you dropped something. Let me get it for you. We help people all the time. So you might be thinking, but Jay, what do you mean solving problems? Sales and solving problems? It makes no sense. Well, let's talk about anything, and that is a problem that was solved. So what's something that you bought? Think of it right now. Something that you recently bought and that helped solve a problem. Think of anything. And I didn't mean anything. So let me give an example. Let's take the scale. This scale helps solve a problem. When I weigh these, I now know how much they weigh. It helps me with my business. It helps solve a problem, right? And it also could do that if I'm weighing food. If I decide that I want to measure, which I do all the time, by the way, I make a lot of smoothies. And so I have to measure the grams. It helps solve a problem, right? This table helps solve a problem because it contains my items that I need for this video I'm doing. It helps solve a problem. I don't have to pick it up off the floor. It's right here in front of us so we can see it together. The chair helps solve a problem. I don't have to stand when I'm talking. It helps me be comfortable. And if it's a stylish chair, it might help the home decor. It helps solve a problem. Think of anything. Anything. Let's do one more. Anything. No, garbage is too easy, right? You could already see what problems that solve. Okay, a wax melter. Here we go. What does this solve? This solves the problem of not having to melt it on your stove and not know what the temperature is. Or if you do know what the temperature is, you're using a thermometer to figure that out. This helps you figure out what temperature is inside, what it's heating to. And it contains your wax and brings it out in this lovely spout that just makes everything easier. It helps solve a problem. So think about anything you've done, anything you've bought, and trust me, it's helped solve a problem. So you are a problem solver. Now you might be thinking, well, Jay, what problems does one have when they're buying a candle? Now I will admit that people who buy candles aren't necessarily on the higher end of their problems being solved. Cancer would be up there, right? If you knew the formula to help people with cancer, that would be high up on the totem pole, and candles are probably pretty low. But that's normal. A lot of things are on that low scale because it could be you help solve the problem of home decor. Somebody's looking for something to enhance their home decor. A candle is a lovely item for that. Or it could be a gift. You know what? I need a gift for you know what's coming up? Secret Santa. Candles are perfect. Solves that problem. What do I get? What do I get? What do I get? I'll get a candle. It could be there's an odor in the air, or maybe you just don't like the air in its natural state, which maybe you don't. Maybe you want something that smells refreshing or something that brings a memory to your mind. It could be that you're looking for a little relaxation, right? A little bit of relaxation. I'm going to meditate, and I've got myself a candle, and it brings me into that Zen-like state. There are problems that we solve because we bought a candle. So you, when you sell your candle, you're helping solve a problem. Don't look at yourself as a salesperson, because being a salesperson sucks. But a problem solver, everyone loves a problem solver. So if you start to make that mind shift, it helps. When I sell my course, when people ask me about it, I know going in, I'm helping you solve a problem. You don't have to go searching for stuff. It's right there. And if you get lost, I'm right here. It helps solve a problem. And people buy it because of that. So you know what? I don't want to have to think about it. I see the same questions come up time and time again on our Facebook group, on the community. Same questions that get emailed to me in YouTube all the time. It helps solve a problem because I have it in the course, and it answers your questions that you're going to have, and you might not even know you're going to have. All of these videos that you watch it because it helps solve a problem. What problem? Well, maybe you want to see the process from start to finish. We're in the middle of it right now, so you haven't gotten to the end, but that helps solve a problem. Maybe you need a little connection in your life. You know what? I want a laugh. I want to hear somebody with a lot of energy. I want somebody to make me feel a little bit different. So you might want to watch me, right? It helps solve a problem. It's okay to make the mind shift because that mind shift will make you a stronger person to get your candles into their houses so that you solve their problems. And that's how I want you to make that mind shift. So it helps you, it helps them, it helps everyone. Trust me, change your mindset. It will be life-changing. Now, we're going to weigh these. I'll talk more tomorrow about sales. I got a bunch of other things I'll talk to you about. I want to really dive in deep. And again, Patreon, I'm going to get a small group together. It's going to be good. I'm going to help those who really want to be helped so that they can make some serious money. Anyway, yesterday we had Simmental. This is the Simmental vessel at 414 grams. So it went up, remember, from day one or from the right after demolding. So it was 414 grams as of yesterday. It is currently 404 grams. So 404 grams. So it dropped 20 grams. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. Now, a lot of it might have been the RIT dye, right? Because it was soaked inside. So we don't know exactly what it was. It could have been the water from the stirring from the original mixture, or it could be the RIT dye. Now, yesterday, my Hydrostone was 363 grams. And today, it's 343 grams. So another one, 20 grams in 24 hours for both vessels. That's pretty impressive. Now, tomorrow I don't expect that it's going to drop as much weight. And then probably the following day, I'll look to seal. That's usually the way I do it. We'll see. Once it starts to stabilize, once it gets down to a couple of grams in between here and there, I'm ready to seal. It's not that bad at that point for my purposes. Anyway, I hope my sales speech was very beneficial to you. I'll talk more about sales tomorrow. We'll weigh these vessels and we'll go from there. See you then. All right, we're back. It is October 11th, 2024. It is day 3. It's also the 4th time that you've seen me. We started at day 0. I'm going to weigh these out because we want to see when we're going to seal them. Hopefully they lose enough weight that we can pick a time, a day that we are going to seal them. So before we do that though, I want to talk a little bit more about sales. Yesterday I talked about how we're not salespeople, we are problem solvers. And today I want to talk about an issue that I see quite often, a very big mistake that a lot of these crafters, creators make when they do their craft show, right? If you think about craft fairs and festivals and you have a booth set up, I see a lot of mistakes, and I wanted to kind of go through this with you because I don't want you to make these mistakes. I actually see 3. The first mistake is lack of connection. Lack of connection. If you're at a booth and you're sitting down and you're all the way back behind the table and your display, you're not making a connection. If you're on your phone or you're reading the paper or you're doing something that has nothing to do with the business while you're there, you're not making a connection. You need to be standing out in front and making a connection. Now, that doesn't mean you need to be annoying. Hi, come in. Can you come see my stuff? Hurry up, please. You don't want to do that. You want to be present, but you don't want to be annoying. Now, you might say, well, Jay, I don't want to be standing all day. I'm too old. Really? Is that the excuse? Fine. If you're too old or you don't want to stand all day, then you got to get yourself one of those directorial chairs that's a little bit higher, the ones that go up a bit so that when someone walks by, you're pretty much at eye level so that you can make connections. You can say, hi, how are you? It's a lovely day out today, isn't it? You're not trying to get them to come into your booth. You want that to happen organically. They're either going to come in or they're not going to come in. But if you're not making a connection, they're not coming in as quickly. You need to make a connection. That's number 1. Number 2, and by the way, these are issues that I see all the time when I go to these fairs. I almost die when I see someone in the back and they're like this. Number 2, the second thing you need to do is you need to have your branding represented in your space, in your booth space. If you just have a table and a tarp with your logo on it, that's boring. That's pretty much what everyone does. Are you everyone else? Do you want to blend in or do you want to stand out? Now, when I mean stand out, I don't mean annoyingly stand out. I don't mean absurdity stand out. I mean that your brand. If you are an outdoorsy concrete candle person, well, I want to see some outdoorsy feelings. I want to feel those feelings when I walk into your booth. I want to see some wood. And I want to see some grass and some dirt, and I want to feel, maybe you've got a cowboy hat on, I don't know. I want to know that you're outdoorsy. Maybe you got overalls on, whatever it is. That's your brand. I want to feel it when I go in there. If you're luxurious, then I want to see a red carpet. Not a big one, but something small. Be kind of cutesy. It's obvious, but it's cutesy. It's doable. Put some diamond rhinestones on your table, something. Be different. Don't be like everyone else. Your lighting, your stage set, the backdrop, everything. And it needs to be simple, not complicated, simple. Actually, less is more. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times people will ask, well, how much should I bring? Less is more. And what I mean by less is more, I don't mean if you have, 25 items, only bring 3. But you don't necessarily want to bring all 25. That's a lot. It's like if I had to choose between 25 things, I'd be like, it's a little much. Bring your top 10. People like top 10. These are my top 10. I got 5 over here, 5 over here. Boom. Have fun. And spread it out nicely in your brand. Of course, your logo has to be a part of it. I want those things to be noticeable so people can be impressed and they can feel like they've had an experience. It doesn't need to be grandiose, but it needs to be impactful. Does that make sense? Keep it simple, but keep it branded. Now, the third thing is you have to leverage the ability of free. Not the ability. I said that wrong. You need to leverage the ideology of free. There it is. What that means is get yourself some little wax samples, handouts, some lollipops for the kids. You have to ask the parents, of course. Some dog treats, maybe a dog bowl. And this goes back to making a connection. Hey, can I give little Sally a lollipop? Oh, I can? Here you go, little Sally. That's when I would hand them my card and be like, oh, and by the way, if you ever need any candles, I'm here. Your friendly neighborhood candle maker. You make a connection, right? And even in your little wax melts or samples, you can have your card in there so that they know who you are. When they go back, they had this good feeling. See, you know what? I like them. Not everyone's going to go. Not everyone's going to go see you. That's not how it works. If you hand out 100 free things, maybe you get 5 or 10 back. Maybe. And that's okay. But you've made the connection. And keep in mind, those other 95 or 190 people that didn't buy from you, they might be buying later. They might be ordering online. Or they might be passing your info off to someone else because they really felt the connection when they saw the brand when they walked into your booth, right? So you have to think. Don't be afraid to give things away. That's how you make a connection. That's how you make a memory. That's how you say, hey, I'm here. I know you might not see me because there's 50 other people, but I want you to remember me to some degree. So don't be afraid to give things out for free. All right? I see that a lot in the mistakes, I should say, when I go to these fairs. There are some people that do all three, and most people don't, or they miss one or two. Those three going to help your sales immensely, immensely. It's nuts how those three things will change your financial life. But come from the heart, and all else will fall into place. Now, with that said, let's weigh these out and see where we are. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about branding, by the way, because branding is a topic that, boy, a lot of candle makers don't have. Oh, I see so many candles, and they just look like a label and a logo, and I'm like, oh, that company's not going to do well. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean they're not even trying. Or they don't know yet. There's a difference. Some people just don't know. And I want to help those who want to be helped. Now, let's weigh this out. Yesterday, we lost, let me see, this is the red dye. Okay, so we lost 20 grams per vessel. Remember that? And so we are at, on the cement doll, we have 404 and then 343. Now, if there's a big differential between these two numbers, I'll probably have to wait another day. But if there's a smaller number, I might be able to seal tomorrow. If not tomorrow, the following day. I'll let you know in a minute. And I have not weighed this out. This is all off the cuff. Anything I make a mistake with, or I say something wrong, I'm in the moment, right? I'm trying to be as is. This is what you get. This is how you make these vessels, all right? Okay, here we go. Let's start with the cement doll at 404 yesterday. What do you think it is? 400. 400. That's interesting. Let's see how the other one's doing. Now that dropped 10 grams. 334. 333.34. So this is interesting because this one dropped 4 grams and this one dropped 10. 10's a lot, in my opinion. And now that could be because this is more porous. It's not that it could be, it is. It's because this is more porous, so it holds in more of the moisture, and then when it dissipates, it seems like it lost a lot of weight in just a day. This one, less porous, of course, is going to have less of a number, right? The differential between the two. So I'll see how it is tomorrow, because if it's really, if it hasn't gone down much, right? If this only goes down, you know, like 2-3 grams, and this goes down maybe 2-3 grams, I'll be ready to seal. I'm okay with anything between 1 to 3 grams, and you'll see it teetering back and forth. And if you do this on your own, and keep in mind that the RIT die is what pushed us to do one more day. This would be the day I would seal normally. It's always on day 3. I don't even look at it anymore. But because we did the RIT die, we added moisture back in that added an extra day, maybe even more, right? Because I don't necessarily RIT die all the time, but I was doing it because it's a fun little technique, and it's going to come out cool when it's done. They look ugly as sin right now. At least to me, I'm like, I can't wait to move on and show you the awesomeness. Oh, and by the way, if you're still with me, because some people are like, oh, he's droning on. If you ever look at your vessel and you go, oh, I don't like this. When it's said and done, you'll feel differently. When it's sealed and you've done everything, you will feel differently, trust me. But you see how it's missing patches of color? You can always take some of the RIT dye directly with a brush and dab it and just kind of go over it. It solves that problem if it really bothers you. I didn't do that because I'm trying to just be real. I always tell people that the perfection is in the imperfection, so I want it to be where, hey, this is what it looks like. And when it's done, we're going to analyze it that way. And I'll be honest with you. If I like it, I'll tell you. And if I don't, I'll be like, I don't like it. And I'm sure you'll tell me as well. Anyway, I'll see if I seal tomorrow, and we'll put the foil around because we do that together. If we do, you'll know that in just a couple of seconds when we edit to the next segment. But I'll see you then. All right, we're back. It's the following day, and we are going to weigh these vessels to see if it's time to add in the foil and seal. Now, just as an FYI, yesterday's weight for the Silicone was 400 grams and the Hydrostone was 334 grams. And basically, I want to see about a 1 to 3% change. And that will give me the indication that I think it's time to seal, because the following day, it will only go down about half of that. So at that point, there's so little water in there, I'm not really concerned. And plus, I'm a very responsible candle maker. I know a lot of you might be like, well, so am I. But the point of me saying that is that I don't let the jar get over the temperature of 140 degrees. And so that helps the sealant so that it's not completely just chaotic inside, if that makes sense. Sometimes I've seen people go up to 175 degrees on the outside temperature. That's crazy. And by the way, you should watch my video on why 140 degrees is actually the temperature that you got to use. And it has really thorough research. And I actually did a test where I handheld each vessel. Actually, I did it with a jar from 140 degrees all the way to 175. Whew, that was a tough one. Anyway, so if this is about 1 to 3 grams less, and this is about 1 to 3 grams less, I will start to seal. So let's start with the Silicone. Yesterday was 400. 1 gram. Perfect. $3.99. Great. Now, that's perfect for this. I'm ready to seal this. Let's see. This is a little more porous, so this is going to have dropped a little bit more. Yesterday was 334. Ooh, okay. I have 330. Right, 331. So it's 330. 331. It's between 4 and 3. Dilemma. What do I do? Because I said between 1 and 3. And to be honest, 3 is the high end. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to seal it today. Today's the day. However, if I were you, you don't want to follow what I do. What you want to use this as a guide. You don't want to follow what I do. Use it as a guide for your own testing to see what works in your environment, what works in your process. But if I were selling this, I'd probably wait another day, but I'm not. And so I'm okay with sealing it now. So if you're using it as a tester or something else, by all means, probably 3 to even 5 grams, I'm ready to seal. Like I said, my jar temperature is quite on the low side, so I'm good. So I'm going to do it. I want you to make sure that in the future you make the decision based off of something that you decide works best for you, not because of what I'm doing here. All right? Does that make sense? Now, let me run you through the process of what I'm going to do, and then we're going to talk about sales. Sales, making money, because honestly, why are we doing this beyond the love and the art? We eventually need to think about this as a business. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So what I'm going to do is, obviously you see the line around both the Cemento and the Hydrostone. I'm going to put a ring of sealant around here, and then I'm going to add foil, because that's my adhesive. Actually, I don't need the tops. And I am going to, actually, before I do that, I'm going to seal the inside so that when I'm done, I could seal it again, because it will have dried enough that I could seal it. Now, usually you should wait about a half hour to 45 minutes, actually even an hour in between applications, but I've found that really it dries so fast, you could throw another, if you're liberal with your sealing, it's quick. It really is. You don't have to wait that long. Anyway, so sealant around, foil on top, and then I'm going to seal it. Obviously, I said I'll seal it inside. And if I make a mistake, it's because I said something and I'm talking and then I forget. But that's what I would normally do in a everyday scenario. Also, I use this. This is a makeup brush. I actually saw my wife using a makeup brush on her face, not on anything else. And when she was using the makeup brush, I thought to myself, hey, you know, that'd be perfect for a vessel. The way it's spread out on her cheek, you know, she puts, I don't know what's this called over here, rouge? Is that what it is? Forgive me. So I'm probably butchering the whole process, right? Do women even do this? It looks like they're stabbing themselves in the face. They're not. But work with me here. So when they put the makeup on, the spread of the bristles was really grand. I was like, wow, that really takes care of a lot. Now, I use my tack-on brushes, which are great, but they're not that thick, so it doesn't do much. It's good for the middle. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to start with this. Well, actually, I'm going to do the inside, but I'm going to start with this around here, and I use this. But here, to seal this bad boy, I'm like, woo, I don't even dip anymore. Boom, 1, 2, 3, done. So I picked this up at a dollar store, by the way. And this is perfect. The bristles don't come off. I've used it 100 times. I love this. So look at that. No bristles. Look at that. Nothing. This is, I have to say, for a cheap $1 brush, I mean, I don't know how much they would cost to make. It really does a great job. So you know my process. I think, oh, by the way, I think I'm going to do silver here, gold here. I was originally going to do silver. I don't know. I think I'm going to do gold here. I was originally going to do both silver, and then I said, no, I'm going to be different. Let me do something different. I don't know. I don't know if it's something that I'm going to like, but it doesn't matter because, honestly, someone else might like it. And so you heard what I said I was going to do in the beginning? I was going to seal the inside, and I am going to do that right now. So let me just get this little glob of sealant on, and then we'll talk about sales. Sales. I'll do the inside in a second. I said I was going to start with that. It's not easy to do two things at once. Anyway, sales. What about sales? What do we talk about sales? Now, sales is the most important thing that we need to think about, because if we're doing this as a business, if things aren't selling, it's no good, right? So let's talk about that for a second. Now, I did a video, and tomorrow we'll talk branding a bit. I did a video on branding. It might not be out by the time I've done this video. It's on my queue. It's set up. It might not be out, but it will be out soon, and probably by the time you see this video, could be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road, you know. What happens is I put things on my YouTube queue, and I don't necessarily post it right away. Anyway, it's up there, so it's already done. I've already edited it and what have you. But that video is excellent because that's going to really help you understand some of the terminology that you need to understand in order to make this a viable business. You need to be branded. And by the way, branding is not just a fancy logo. You can't see my logo from this angle, but it's up there. If you've seen my videos before, you know it's up there. You're not just a fancy logo and that's your brand. It's not how it works. But with that said, and we're going to talk about branding tomorrow. With that said, sales. Sales. That is a very important topic because we need to make money in order to make this business work. So the thing about sales is one of the things, there's multiple things. We're going to only talk about one or two today. One of the things that you want to think about is the visibility. And actually, if I could correct myself here or stop myself for a second, target audience and visibility. But target audience is very important because target audience is your calling card for who you're selling to. Your target audience is your calling card for who you're selling to, right? You're not selling to just anyone. Like if I said to you, who's your target audience? And you said, anyone who likes candles. No, that's not your target audience, anyone who likes candles. Anyone can buy your candles, right? Anyone, right? That's a given. Well, hopefully it's a given. Anyone can buy your candles, but not everyone is going to buy your candles because not everyone likes what it is that your candles are or stand for or branded as. That's the reality. And I'm going to talk about that in a second because I have a very funny story for you. So, who's your target audience? That's what you have to first start with. Who's your target audience? And for most people, they don't know who their target audience is. And that's a big problem. Hold on one sec. Because there's so many clumps on these little... I love this foil, but man, it is moody. It is moody. Target audience is... Okay, let's talk about target audience for a second. Who's your target audience? If you're a fun, upbeat candle brand, your target audience might not be the senior citizen crowd. Does that make sense? Duh. If your brand is fun, upbeat, blah, 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 maybe, not to say that they're not fun and upbeat, but let's be real, it's usually the younger folks. So that's the way we have to think. We have to think like that. Who's our target audience? And I'll give you a funny story, and this just happened to me, and it'll really drive home what I mean about target audience, because a lot of people neglect to realize that the target audience is really the key to our success. If we know where our target audience is, and by the way, I have a video on these topics, and I'm going to post that down in the description. You should watch that video. It hasn't really taken off as much as I thought it would, but boy, that's got a ton of good content that's going to make you much more successful. I'm telling you, go watch that video. It's about sales, target audience, great video. But this happened to me recently. My wife said to me, Jay, could you go to the meat market and pick some meat up for us for later? Now, when she said us, she means me. She means my son and maybe my daughter. My daughter's not the biggest meat eater, but she is, but she's a very picky eater. My son loves certain types of meat, and my wife does too. They don't necessarily eat a lot of it, but they eat enough that they go to the meat market. Now, to be honest, I haven't had meat in 36 years. I was a kid when I stopped eating meat. And I say that because she said to me, Jay, and if I'm quiet for a second, it's because I'm concentrating. I know, I can't do two things at once. I apologize. She said to me, Jay, can you go to the meat market? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm not a meat eater. I don't know really the lingo, so to speak. There's a way to talk to people in the meat market, I'm sure. I'm sure there's certain meals and dishes and all of that stuff. And I don't really know it, but she said, I'll email you all the information that you need. You just tell them exactly what I write. And I was like, okay, cool. So I go to the meat market. I walk in, and there's a waft, there's a smell I've never smelled in my life. I was like, whoa, this is not cool. Like, I'm a raw vegan at times. Raw vegan is someone who eats just fruits and vegetables. Literally. My dinner could consist of just a salad. Like a hefty salad, but it's a salad. Like, I don't eat meat. I will eat fish from time to time. But I don't eat meat. And so it's a little weird for me. So I walk in, I smell this smell, and to be honest with you, everyone in there is lovely. Everyone is just so nice. Hi, how are you? La, la, la. I mean, I was like, wow, what a great group of people. But I said to myself, I don't feel comfortable in here because I don't eat meat and I don't know what I'm doing per se. You know what I mean? And I texted my wife and I said, I feel like I'm cheating on myself. That's what I said. I said, I feel like I'm cheating on myself. I don't feel comfortable in here because I don't know the lingo. I don't know, what's that smell? I even said to her, I said, what the heck is that smell? And you know what she said? She said, sometimes a meat market could smell kind of funky. And I'm like, really? And you guys like it? No offense if you're a meat lover. I don't eat meat. I'm not putting my values and my views on you. I'm just telling you a story. And so I said, it's coming out nice. It's coming out nice. I said to her, I'm just looking to see because if there's any space, I think I covered everything, but it's really, really tough. And by the way, if you have any marks that you like, I don't like, you see I added that right there. Feel free to just be like, you know what, there's a mark I don't like. Oh, I don't like that right there. Boom. And you just add little dribs and drabs along the way, and it just adds a little bit of artistic difference, if you will, to the vessel. So I added a few little specks. Maybe I'll add one more. I feel like Bob Ross. Anyone know Bob Ross? Where he's like, you want a tree? We'll add a tree. Imagine me as Bob Ross. A tree. We'll just add a little tree right here. You want to add a little tree? Yeah, let's add a tree. Love Bob Ross. Me and him, we teach differently. Anyway, so I'm in the, oh, let me seal the outside. Now I could actually seal it because it's good. This is how I do it. This is how I do it, folks. This is how I do it. I gotta sneeze. If I sneeze on camera, I might edit that out because that's not nice. I'm not trying to sneeze, but I know there's something that's bothering my nose. Anyway, so I'm in the meat market and I'm feeling like I'm feeling, and there's like I said, everyone is so super nice, and the guy it's packed in there, by the way. I mean, obviously it's a meat market. Everyone's buying meat on whatever day it was. And so a guy who's maybe 5 guys ahead of us, right? He kind of yells over to the guy directly in front of me, and he says, do you smoke? So he says, do you smoke, to the guy right in front of me? And the guy's like, he's like, no, I don't, but my brother smokes. And I'm saying to myself, why are they talking about smoking? Like, smoking in 2024 is not a topic anyone's talking about. And so why are we talking about smoking? So stupid. That's what my thought is. I'm not even kidding you when I tell you this. And then, so he goes, I don't smoke, but my brother smokes. And then he goes, yeah, I just started learning, and I'm real confused. I'm not even kidding you. I'm real confused. And at one point, I start to say to myself, okay, they're probably not talking about the smoking I'm thinking. They're talking about some other kind of smoking. I'm just sealing the top while I do this. Anyway, so I should have had a paper towel down there, but I don't. Got to be prepared. Oh, here's a paper towel. So he says, no, I don't. My brother does, whatever. And then he goes, yeah, something, it took me 12 hours to do. And now I know I'm not talking about smoking, but for a minute there, I was like, this is so weird. And he goes, you should really try it. It's excellent, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, this is nuts. So I go home, I tell my wife's in stitches. She said, that's smoked meat. You smoked the meat. I said, he didn't say smoked meat. He said, do you smoke? He didn't say smoked meat. He said, do you smoke? And when you say, do you smoke, what's the first thing you think? Now, obviously, I'm in a meat market, right? But that's what went on. Oh, actually, the gold looks awesome. Wow. Wow, pretty. This might be the one. You know, it starts out like you go, I don't know if I like that. And then you go, wow. That's why you got to, as an artist, you got to be open. So what's my point in this whole meat market story? I'm sure some of you already picked up on it, but the meat market is not, I'm not their target audience. I'm not the one. You could tell me I've got 50% off on all the meats, and I'd be like, that's good for you. That's not going to do me any good. I'm not eating it. I don't eat meat. And so who's your target audience? If you're a meat eater, you're going to the meat market, and you might feel comfortable, and you might love that smell. I hated it. You might love it. You might go, I love the smell. There's people that love that smell, I'm sure. Oh, there's something about the smell. And by the way, I want to make this a point that's clear. Everyone in there was just so lovely. What nice people. The owner, the workers, everyone was just talking, and it just seemed like such a happy family. Like if I wanted to be a part of it, it was easy. It was easy. Anyway, target audience. Who's your target audience? If you don't know your target audience, that you need to know. All right, that's it in a nutshell. We'll talk more about things about branding, because the target audience helps you with branding. Can I get this on? So let's talk visibility real quick. Visibility, which really is something that a lot of people, I think, misunderstand, because they open up a website or a store, let's say Etsy or Shopify, and I see it all the time. They say, I've been open for 6 months and I don't get any sales. No one gets any online orders. The reason you don't have any online orders is because you didn't do anything to get those orders. You might think, well, Jay, I did SEO. SEO is the basics. You have to start with SEO. You start with that. In general, you start with SEO. Right? You start a website, you're SEO down, like everything you do is about SEO to begin with. That doesn't make you a good site that the algorithm or Google is going to recommend. That's not how it works anymore. Back in the day it did. Back in the day you could kind of get away with it. You could open up a site and do some SEO, and then all of a sudden you were the most popular site on the web. That's just how it was back in the day. Now you actually have to work. You want to get seen, you got to put in the work to get seen. Now, you might think, well, Jay, how do I put in the work to get seen? Now, that's the $50 million question. And when you join my Patreon, we go in deep. But I'm going to give you a little nugget. I'm going to give you a few nuggets, actually. I'm going to give you some good stuff. And there's always more. There's always more. Just always remember that. But visibility. So let's start with just the simple, basic visibility. Now, friends and family is a given, right? And I want to utilize that ideology for just a sec, because people have this misconception. They say, oh, the friends and family, friends and family. Your friends and family, as lovely as they are, and you love them, and they're wonderful, and I love my mom, and I love my dad, and I love this, and I love that. That's not the audience you want. They're biased. They love you. They're going to buy your stuff and talk behind your back and be like, this shit sucks. Actually, hopefully they don't do that. But they're not the ones, right? You can sell to them, but they're not the ones. So you need to get your audience from your friends and family this way. Let me give you a little nugget. This one's a good one. Now, and I want to point out something. You need to do the work. If you're not interested in doing work, I can't help you. You need to do the work. That's why when I do my Patreon for this one particular segment, it's not going to be a lot of people. It's not about me making a ton of money off of it. It's about me working with those who really want to work and get to the next level. Because honestly, some people just, they're not, they say they do, they're not. This, I have to be honest with you, the gold is spectacular. The gold is spectacular. Wow. Love it. Anyway, you're going to call up your friends and family. And instead of saying to them, hey, whoever, your uncle, your aunt, your whoever, your best friend, instead of saying, hey, you want to buy my candles? I got this candle company. You're going to call your friends up and you're going to say, hi, listen, I know you might know, or maybe you don't, I started a candle business. Now, I'm trying to build up my sales here, and I was wondering if you knew of somebody who was interested in purchasing candles or who loved candles. You're not going to mention the person you're talking to. You're not asking them for a handout or for a favor. That's not really going to help you. So you're going to ask them, hey, do you know anybody? Maybe somebody at work or at church or at the synagogue or at sports practice for your kids or whoever. Do you know someone that you could recommend me to, because I have this new candle business and I'm kind of trying to build up a clientele, right? Now, think about this for a second. What's the first thing that happens when someone calls someone else and says, hey, do you know somebody, not you, who might like candles? Do you know what's the first thing they're going to say to you? I like candles. Why didn't you ask me? And even if they don't say that, trust me, that's what they're thinking, right? I'm going to give you a quick story. You know me and my stories. Here's a quick story. This happened to me years ago. When I was a teen, when I was in my teen, I was dating this girl, and she was an artist. What a very nice, young lady at the time. But when we would go out, it got complicated. Sometimes when you cross that boundary, it doesn't feel right anymore. It feels off, and it felt off for the two of us. So what I did was I finally said to her, you know what? It's not working. Let's just remain friends. And we actually remained friends for years. We did. We stayed friends. We were friends. And then we lost contact with one another, and then we hooked back up as friends, right? I didn't even think of her that way anymore because I knew it didn't work. So we were going out. We were hanging out a lot. And then one day I said to her, I had, been broken up with my girlfriend for a while. And I said, hey, do you have any girlfriends of yours that you might want to invite? You might want to introduce me to, that you think me and her would be a good fit? You know what she said to me? You know where this is going? She goes, what about me? That's what she said. And of course I was like, I didn't know that was even on the table anymore. And we tried to go out. Look at how lovely this is. The gold actually is better. And by the way, this is the Hydrostone. You see how different it looks? Does it look awesome? I'm excited. That's what she said to me. What about me? What about me? What about me? We went out for a little bit, and then I've never seen her again, which is good. It's fine, because you really can't have too many girlfriends and be married. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to say? Oh, yeah, we dated. Oh, yeah, she's just a friend. Nah. You get to a point, you go, yeah, that line doesn't work anymore. So our relationship ended. This is way before I met my wife, but our relationship ended. But my point is, not to talk about my love life or lack of it at the time, but my point is that when you go and you say, find me someone else that likes this, initially, the first response is always going to be, what about me? And so, when you call your friends and your family, you're going to ask them for those same types of people. And two things are going to happen. One, they're going to introduce you to people. They might say, hey, you know who's good? So-and-so down at church. I'm just using church. It could be a synagogue. Maybe you don't go to church. I don't care. That's not the point. The point is that there's always someone, right? Someone at the school, someone at the office, someone at the grocery store, someone. Oh, you know who likes candles? Oh, I think they love candles. Boom, boom, boom. Perfect. Put me in touch with him and her. Put me in touch with that person. Now, does that mean that you're going to necessarily call them? Well, yes, but that's not the intention completely. The intent, we're doing the inside again. The intention is to get your friend or family to be interested in your work as well. Is a two-part reason for doing what you do. And the first one is you want them to go, what about me? And even if they don't say it, they'll lead you to believe like, well, I'd love to see your stuff. Oh, okay, fine. And here's what that does. It alleviates the pressure off of that person. It alleviates the pressure off of that person to not feel like they're being sold something to, or that they're obligated to help you. It alleviates that pressure. You just take it off of their plate right away by saying that. So I want you to realize that, because that's important. Wow, that looks awesome, by the way. That's important. You don't want to feel like you're impeding upon their day and their life by, you know, they got their own thing going on. I know they're friends and family and they're going to hook you up. But if you present it in a way that takes the pressure off of them and you, because it helps take the pressure off of you, you're golden. You're golden. You got yourself, oh, I know Mary down at the church, and I'd like candles too. Let me see your stuff. I'd like to see it. So there's ways to do it. I was going to tell you some more, but I think I'm done for now. I think I'm done sealing. I'll be back tomorrow, and I am probably going to do the candle. I'm going to add the candle wax right, tomorrow. I think I'm going to do it tomorrow. When it comes to this is Earth Safe Finishes, by the way. When it comes to Earth Safe Finishes, it has a 24 to 48 hour cure time. I've been fine with 24 hours. I've done the 24 hours and I haven't had a problem. I only seal the outside really once. I might go through it a little bit, like I'm doing here, and just kind of add a little. Make sure that there's no streaks, which there aren't, but it's hard to see with the lights blaring in front of me. But the Hydrostone is actually turning out nicer, in my opinion, than the Simmental, because I like the gold. And something that happened, which I didn't realize, the paint, the RIT dye kind of rubbed off on the gold a little, and it blended in a bit, and it looks kind of cool. I like it. I don't know. It just looks different. It really looks good. I like it. Anyway, that's my little thing for today. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, today's the last day. Today I'm going to actually make a candle, and then I'm going to take a pause, let it cool down, and then come back and recap. So it'll all happen today, and today is, let's go through this real quick because my math, or I should say my memory, isn't quite working well. So we started on the 8th, which was day 0, and then we had the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and the 13th. So 5 days to make a candle with this RIT dye, double RIT dye method. Not bad. Now, don't think that you can go and light the candle up right away. We still have to wait 2 weeks. But if you wanted to go and sell your products within 5 days, you could. And of course, you'd have to let someone know that the candle is curing. So not bad. That's a pretty crunch time, if you ask me. But hey, it works. So today, what are we doing? We are going to make a candle. I'm going to actually turn on my wax melter. By the way, if you're looking for a wax melter, the 2-auto wax melter is absolutely amazing. And I'm not just saying that because I know them over at 2-auto. The wax melter is great. It really is. It's easy to use. It's so lightweight. Look at this. Look at this. I have wax in here, so it's a little heavier, but it's so lightweight. And I'll talk about all of my process of what I'm going to do in a second, because I said I have wax in here. I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to do that now. And it's on the side, so forgive me while I pop out of frame. But I am now lowering the temperature to, let's say, because there's only 2, there it is. Because there's only 2 candles worth of wax in here, and by the way, there's 400 150 grams of wax. I'm keeping the temperature at about 190 in case it gets a little hotter, because we're right there by the heating device down here, right? 400 grams of added filled to the top. Well, that's different. That's different. So it's now warming up. Great item if you're looking for a wax melter. And by the way, I met them over at 2 Auto. They came to America, and I had been dealing with this woman named Shelly. We were going back and forth, and she was wonderful because every time I would kind of envision who I was going to meet right before we met, I didn't know who to expect, but of course I had a vision in my head, and when I met her, it's exactly who I thought. Like, her personality in her emails fit who she is, so it was really cool. We met down in my area at a Starbucks, and I met the owner, David, and Joanne, and Shelly, and we had a wonderful time. Great people. Anyway, that's not what makes this product great. I mean, honestly, it helps. It's not what makes them great, but the product's really, really awesome. So if you're looking for a wax melter, check out the 2 Auto wax melter. You're going to love it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to clean off my wicks, the bottoms of my wicks. I'm going to add in some wick stickers, which I don't have right here. I have it right here. And I'm going to add it to each one of my candles, my candle jars. This is warming up. I'm going to add in my fragrance oil, stir it up, and then I'll come back. But in the interim, while I'm making this, right, if I forget something, I'll tell you the formula I'm using more or less. I want you to know, but I also want to say something about that in a second. What I'm going to do is talk about branding and then lead it into website design, because these are certain topics that I've been working on for over a year, and I've seen a lot of mistakes, and I want to bring this to your attention. Now, this video is just going to hover over the surface of the issue, and it's not going to really do much beyond that, because I have a whole video that talks about branding and so on and so forth. It's not out right now, but it's on the queue. When I say right now, like in my moment right now, not the time you're watching it. Might be there. So go check that out. It's about branding. You should see it. So I have inside here 450 grams of the, let me just make sure that this is on, because it is. I'm saying how wonderful it is, and I'm like, is it on? But it is. Anyway, I have 450 grams of the Maker's Blend 100 wax in here, which is a Parasoy wax, and I have some fragrance oil that I'm not going to tell you what it is, because I don't want you to copy what I'm doing, because that will then lead you down the wrong road. But I'll give you my wicks. These are Premier 735 wicks. Now, not every fragrance oil and these vessels work 735, sometimes 745, sometimes 755. That's one of the reasons I don't want to tell you, because then you're going to go, I'm going to go get that, and you're going to do the same thing, and then you're going to either make a mistake or do something that isn't right in the regards of making a candle. You have to test your own products. Don't just copy. So, if you have any questions, obviously, on my process, feel free to ask, and I will know how to answer accordingly. Sometimes I see emails and I go, no, there's something fishy about this particular person, at least from what they're writing to me. So I don't, I won't respond to people like that, because I'm a little weary of that type of behavior. When I see an email that's like, hey, give me this. Trust me, I've seen some really weird emails come in. Anyway, let's talk about branding. We talked about sales. We kind of scratched the surface on sales. Branding, I've been looking at a lot of websites, and this is why I want to talk about websites eventually. And I have to be honest. I'm no hair on my tongue when I say this. I'm not being disrespectful to anyone out there, and if this is you, I apologize, but you better to know now than later. Most people, their branding sucks. That's it, I said it. It just plain sucks. I know in this day and age, we're not supposed to say certain things because it hurts people's feelings. I'm not that type of person. I don't go out to hurt people's feelings. If anything, I do the opposite. I try to help people. But I'm not going to lie. Their branding just sucks. Not their products. I'm not saying their products suck. That's different. I actually have a philosophy that my opinion about someone's products is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. When you ever see someone say, oh, can you tell me what you think? Who cares? Find out what your customers think. Find out what your audience thinks. Not some artist that has a point of view that could be good or bad. Who knows? It's just, it's not the pool of people I'd like to know from. Personally, you might have a different point of view, and that's fair. So branding. Branding, I see a lot of websites that just, oof, really bad. But with that said, branding, there's 9 elements to branding. And in those 9 elements, there's one element we're going to talk about briefly, and that is the brand DNA. Now, we talked about target audience a couple days ago, right? You remember the target audience? That's part of branding. Logo is not branding. Logo is a part of branding, but it's not branding. There's so much more to branding, and you need to be specific. And you can see from someone's website when that branding is just not there. I'm going to look inside to make sure how it's doing, make sure nothing's going wrong. Okay, so it's ready. It's ready. Now, normally, I'll continue in a minute. Normally, and I'll show you what I mean. I could add this here. Actually, because it's temperature controlled, I'll take a second, let it just kind of really melt. It's melted, but you know what I mean? Like really work in. Now, I could turn on the spout and drop in about 80% of the wax, but because it's at the bottom, I only have 2 candles in here, I'm gonna have to tip it over. You get about, I think I did my video on the 2 auto wax melter, and I think it was like something like 93% of the wax comes out, but the other 7% is gonna make me have to tip it, so I'm just gonna tip it. All right, I might turn it on to show you, but I'm gonna end up tipping it anyway, so I'll just tip it. If you got wax up there, you won't have to do that until it gets down here. Does that make sense? And that's like that with a lot of wax melters. But this one, I think it's 93% of the wax I measured came out with me just doing it through the spout. So pretty good. And I think that's around what they claim. Anyway, branding. Branding, there's the brand DNA. I want to talk about brand DNA. What is your brand DNA? Now, brand DNA is, there's 4 parts to it, right? There's your vision, your mission, your purpose, and your values. And let's start with your purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you doing what you're doing? Don't say to make money. That's not a purpose. And always remember that money is a byproduct of the great value that you bring to the market. Money is a byproduct of the great value that you bring to the market. It's not, oh, I'm going to start a business to make money. Now, that can be a fantasy of yours. I'm not saying you can't have fantasies and you can't wish to be rich. But don't start a business to make money. Start a business to add value. Start a candle business to add value. Add value. Add value. So that's a purpose. So what's your purpose? You have to figure that out. Now, your mission. Do I want to do mission or do we do vision? Let's do your vision. Let's do your vision. Where are you headed? Where are you going in this journey, in your business journey? Are you taking it to the utmost location? You know, are you thinking Tesla? Probably not. Most people are a little bit smaller mission-minded, and that's fine. I am. I'm not thinking I want to be the best candle maker in the world. It might be a possibility, but I'm not thinking that right now. So what's your mission? I'm sorry, what's your vision? What's your vision, right? So you have to think of that. And you have to be specific with that. You know, maybe it's community-based. You're doing something community-based, and that's your vision. Now, and that's your mission. There's your vision. I keep screwing these things up because I'm thinking about this. But the next thing I want to talk about is your mission. Your mission is what you do today, right? What's your mission? What journey are you on today? And it's very similar to your purpose, but your purpose is more internal. It's more what your purpose is for you. You're not really expressing your purpose to other people, but your mission you're expressing to the world. And that's usually your mission statement that's on your website, right? And the last thing is your values. What are your values? What do you care about? That needs to come through so that you, when you create your brand, this DNA, this brand DNA, becomes part of you, or becomes something where you don't have to think about it. You just know. But most people don't know that they have to do this. They kind of have an idea, but it's not specific. And you need to write it down. If you need help, honestly, I would, listen, you've heard me say this before. I am promoting my Patreon page. I'm going to get a small group of people together. And I'm going to turn this off. Oh, I said I would show you, but you can't really see the spout. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, it's coming out. Can you see that? You can hear it. Anyway, trust me, it's coming out. My Patreon page. I'm gonna try and get a small group of people together to really help those who want to be helped. Trust me, a lot of people don't want to be helped. I'm gonna try to help people that want to be helped in the branding, in the sales, in the marketing. Those things need to be specific, and a lot of people aren't specific. Right? Their branding sucks, to be honest. So hopefully you're not that person. And maybe you're not. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying I've looked at a lot of websites and I'm like, and that's how you kind of see where someone's brand's going. Now it's dribbling out right now. I'm going to close it because that's down to its last little dribble. And then I'm going to turn this upside down, which maybe you see me, maybe you don't. Hopefully it all comes out nice and clean, which it should. It's a pretty lightweight machine, as you saw. Yeah, you see how there's not a lot left? Can you see that? Look at that. So 93%, I think I measured it on that video, is coming out. And look, it's just dribbling out. So most of it came out from the spout. Awesome machine, but I had to dig in deep because this is a specific formula that's going to make this, it's going to go right to the top. So let's see what the temperature is. Okay, it is ready to go. I am loving it. Right where I wanted it, around 185. What did I say? I'm going to do about 9%. Did I say that before? I'm going to do about 9%. You know what? I don't know off of the top of my head. 450, it's about 40 grams times, what did I say, 450 times 9%, it's about what, 41? 40.5. Just, I knew I was right, but I didn't know I was right. Does that make sense? Okay. I gotta turn this off. There it is. All right. Love the 2 auto wax melter, by the way. I'm going to close this so I'm not breathing in wax, but it'll cool down. It's fine. And whatever leftover wax will be fine. But websites are part of the branding mistake I see a lot of people make. Websites. So your website is, usually people make a website because they have to. And I'm stirring this for about a minute. They have to. That's why you make a website, because you have to. But the reality is there's a reason we have a website. And it needs to be specific. And so your website is more than just because you have to have it. Right? What's the main purpose of your website? Now, there are purposes to having a website. There are multiple purposes. But the main reason you have a website is to get someone to do something, a call to action, right? So that could be buy a product, book a call, what else? Join our club. You know, there's a reason you want people on your website. Now, there might be, like I said, multiple reasons why, but there is a main reason why. I'm trying to go back and forth with my hands because it's uncomfortable to do this and then do this and talk. But there's a reason why you have that website, right? And so I see most people neglect that one call to action. What's that one thing you want them to do? You want them to buy something, right? You want them to buy something. So when you make your website, when you open up someone's website, the front page, which is also known as the hero page, needs to be specific. So, and it needs to be simple. Simple. Within a couple of minutes, you have, not couple of minutes, sorry. Within a couple of seconds, you have to have told the person looking at your website, through your website, you have to have portrayed to them what you do, why it matters, and how they can achieve those results. What can they get from it? In a couple of seconds, 5 seconds at most. Does that make sense? And I'll explain to you what I mean in a minute. So, let's see where we are here. Was that about a minute? I might have screwed this whole thing up. We're almost at the pouring stage. I'm going to stir it a little bit more. I got to get a paper towel. So let's start at the navigation bar at the top. The navigation bar at the top is where you have your, usually people have their, their home page, their shop, maybe contact me, about me, frequently asked questions, yada, yada, yada. You shouldn't have more than 4 items up there. And to be honest with you, the About Me page, get it off. Do you care that they know about you? Unless that's part of your brand, you're a cancer survivor and now you're making candles, hell yeah. But if you're just a regular Joe, like me, who, and I've had my challenges in life, I'm not saying I don't, but it's not necessarily 100% part of my brand. My About Me section's on the footer. You want to read about me, go ahead. You want to know about me, watch my videos. You want to know about me, ask and write a book. But other than that, you probably just want to get your information and move on with your life. And that's how it works in life. So if your About Me section's up there, get it off. You don't need it. Oh, didn't I say I was going to stir this a little bit more? I am. So, even frequently asked questions. I mean, you're making candles. What? This is not a medication. Does it have side effects? No, just if you want to have frequently asked questions, get it down below, because the objective is to get them to buy something, to do something outside of just looking at your website, right? So if you've got them reading your story and you're reading the frequently asked questions, you're wasting time. People don't have time. In the TikTok era, we're not, gone are the days of people reading Shakespeare. They're watching TikTok. Boy, we've come around a lot, huh, as a society. No one's got time to sit there and go, oh, let me read everything. Buy. That's what you want them to do. You want them to buy something, right? So get all the unnecessary stuff out of there, off of that site. And if you have your social media, get it off of the top of your website. Do you want them to buy, or do you want them to go see your silly Instagram story that got 3 followers? I'm not trying to make fun. If you have a very popular Instagram, God bless you. But you want to get them to buy something. Not go to Instagram, right? Your objective is to get them to purchase something, not to go to Instagram. Get it off, because if they see it, they go, oh, Instagram. People are like that. They're funny like that. About 10 more degrees. I'm going to start pouring this at 150. It's at 159. So, get that simple. Your hero section, the actual section where you have, like the imagery and a couple of texts, there should be 3 things up there. And it's usually on the left-hand side. So, you've got your header, your subheader, a little subtext, and then your call to action button. So remember, it needs to say what you do, why it matters, and then your call to action is how can they achieve those results. So if you're a candle maker, you're creating calming, serene, peaceful scenes or home decor for the young mother. I don't know, I'm making it up, but And how are you doing it? With eco-friendly, loving scents made just for her. You see, now it's specific. Oh, wait a minute. If a man goes there, and I don't mean a man who's married to a woman who's in that situation, but if a man goes there, he might go, oh, well, it's the wrong audience. It's not me. I'm not a mother. You're selling just to this specific group of people. Okay, I get it. The call to action button, buy now. Shop now. Or you could be specific and make it personal. Say, buy my candle now. You know what I mean? So when they read it, they're reading back the word my, like as if they're saying to themselves, oh, buy my candle. I'm going to buy my candle, right? So it needs to have that who you are, what you do, and why, what you do, why it matters, and how can they achieve those results. And on the photo, this is the interesting part. I see this all the time. It's okay to have your product as your photo. It's okay, but it's better to have someone in a natural-like state, happy, utilizing your candle. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like maybe you get your best friend, and you know she's got that. You know what I mean? And then you get a nice shot with your candle, but the reaction. That's what you're selling. You're not selling a product. No. You are not selling a product. You're selling a result. You're selling the emotion of what your product does. So let's see what that emotion is. And there's your best friend. You know, forgive my acting because I'm... I might look silly. You know. But you get what I'm saying? You get your best friend to smell a candle of yours, take a photo or whatever, and boom. Now, if you only have your product, you have your product. That's fine. But make it simple. Make it simple. Someone comes into your website. I went to a friend's website, and I saw, and they're a candle maker friend of mine. All right, I think I'm ready to pour. Candle maker friend of mine, and not, friend. I don't know them, but I know of them, if you will. We've talked a few times. I didn't know what the heck. I know what she does. I don't know what the hell the site was. I'm tempted to reach out to her, but I don't want to offend her. People are very picky that way. Because it's like, I didn't do anything wrong. But the reality is a lot of us don't know what we're doing and why we're doing it. All right, I'm going to pour my candle. Again, I'm going to do a lot more digging in deep on a month-to-month basis in my Patreon page. Go check that out. It hasn't started because it won't start until January. But if you're interested, this is the opportunity to come in, and maybe you don't want to do, marketing, sales, and branding and stuff like that. I have other tiers that I'm going to work on that I've actually already worked on. I'm going to be more artistic, of course. And, listen, I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm not judging anyone, even though it might seem like I am. I'm not. I'm out to help you. I want you to not just survive, but I want you to thrive. And you're not going to thrive if you're not specific. It's very hard to thrive if you're not specific, And so that's why I say what I say, because I think it's important. All right, I am. And so you see the candle formula? It is, there you go. You see that? 2 candles right there, right to where I want it. That's specificity. My formula was specific. You saw me take out the wax from here. I tipped it over and it dribbled out. You saw I measured how much fragrance oil. You saw it pour in, and it's right where I want it to be. That's specific. Your branding, your website, the things you do need to have specificity. It doesn't need to be complicated, but it needs to be specific. In any event, I'm going to let these bad boys cool down for a few hours. I'll come back, snip off the wicks, and then I'm going to present to you my Hydrostone and my Silicone concrete candles I can't wait. I'll see you then. All right, I'm back. It's a couple of hours, and I am going to trim these wicks. I'm going to add in my label, and I forgot to add my logo, but there's really no right or wrong time. Well, I guess there would be a wrong time to do it, but after it's complete, I can do it anytime I want. So it's not like I'm out of sync, so to speak, but I did forget, and I wanted to add that in right now. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a tip. I think this is something that'll help you save a little money. This is something I do, and it's pretty cool. So each one of these wicks is 10 inches long. If you snip it, you now have another wick. I have to get the base, put it in, but I saved myself a little money by adding in another wick, and it actually works out pretty perfectly. Pretty good little hack if you're trying to save money. If you're not trying to save money or you don't care, well then, don't do it. All right, so I am going to add in my warning label. And by the way, I think I said this before in the beginning, I make warning labels, candle care cards, thank you cards. So go check those out at my Etsy page. And if you're making your own candle jars, people ask all the time, what do I do about the bottom? Now my bottoms, if you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but trust me when I say it's pretty good. It's not rough, it's not uneven, it's none of that stuff. But if you're concerned about the bottoms, you can easily put on a warning label, and then you don't have to worry. Because to be honest with you, no one's looking at the bottom. Everyone always says, oh, the bottom, the bottom, the bottom. Nobody's looking at the bottom. The only one that's looking at the bottom is your head thinking that someone's looking at the bottom. I mean, will there be one or two people that look at the bottom? Of course, there's always someone. But you're not, I wouldn't concern myself with any of that stuff. I really wouldn't. Don't be bogged down with that stuff. Now, as I'm doing this label, I'm gonna show you these candles in a second. I'm gonna give some up close images in a second. But before I do that, let's just do a quick recap of what happened thus far. So day 0 is the day. Why is this not coming out? Like it should be easy. It's not. It normally is, but it's not. Oh, here it is. As I was saying it. Day 0, and these are from Unique Portrait, by the way. What a great little service that place is when it comes to transfer labels. On day 0, I made a concrete from Silicone, concrete candle jar, plain, along with a Hydrostone candle jar, plain, and we weighed in at 409 grams for the Silicone and 366 grams for the Hydrostone. Right? Is that right? That is right. I am right. So that was that was day 0, right? And then the following day, there's my little label. There's my little label. I like it. On the second day, I did the Rit Dye Dip Technique. It's kind of the name I've given it. I don't know. Sounds pretty cool to me. But what I do is normally on the second day, we do the Rit Dye. That's when we did it. And then we waited a couple of days. I think we waited 3 days, right? And then I sealed it along with adding in the silver and one of the letters wanted to come off, and it's back on. Silver and gold foil. Boom! And then, after we did that, we waited 24 hours, and I added in the wax, the wick, and the fragrance oil. And of course, right now, I am completing the candles, which are done with my labels and my logo attached. Listen, I've spoken enough. I'm sure you're dying to see what these bad boys look like. Let's have a look. Woo, man, these came out great. They are luscious, luscious, luscious. Now, when I first started, I didn't like the Hydrostone because it was, how shall I say, ugly. And now, she's my favorite. Let me know in the comments below which one you like. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And take a look at these videos that are popping up now. They're going to help you on your concrete, hydrostone, and candle making journey. Until next time, thanks for watching. Ciao.